Hello everyone and welcome to Serendipity in Quarantine. Today we are going to see about issues with federalism. So before watching this video, I will recommend you to see the video regarding the core concept called federalism. I will be giving the link of this video in the description as well as at the end of this video. So let us begin. So in federalism, there can be one of the problem like strong central government. So in case of India, the Indian constitution has created strong central government. So this center is stemmed to disintegration and it brings about social and political change. But at the same time, it takes away some of the powers which provided to states to become it as an autonomous institute. So we'll see how center uh, influences the state. So besides concerns of unity, the makers of constitution believed that socio-economic problems of the country needed to be handled by a strong central government in cooperation with the states. For example, poverty, literacy, inequality of wealth were some of the problems. So thus the main concern of the constitution makers was unity and development. So this prompted these constitution makers to create a strong central government. For example, Parliament is empowered to form new state by separation of territory from any state or by uniting two or more states but without considering the opinion of the state. So it can also alter boundary of any state or even its name. It can take consideration of the state but it is not binding on the parliament. Second one, constitution has certain very powerful emergency provision. For example, president rule, national emergency, etc. Then in this case, the power to make laws on the subjects listed in the state list will be transferred to parliament. So this takes away legislative powers of the state. Then even during normal circumstances, central government has very effective financial powers and responsibilities. First of all, the items generating revenues are under control of central government. The central government has many revenue sources and states are most dependent on the grants and financial assistance from the center. Before we used to have planning commission, so the major power of planning commission was with the center. But now it has been replaced by Niti Aayog. There is also discretion of union government to give grants and loans to states. So sometimes it happens that there is discrimination held against states ruled by the opposition party. So if there are no same parties at center and state, then it is observed that usually state is getting discriminated. So now we will be studying governor. So governor is also center's instrument to control state issues. So governor has certain powers to recommend dismissal of state government and dissolution of assembly. Besides that, he also has powers to reserve bill passed by the state legislature for the assent of president. So this creates hurdle in federalism. Then there is also various occasions when situations demand that central government needs to legislate on matters of state list, and this is possible if the move is ratified by Rajya Sabha. So the constitution clearly states that executive powers of the center are superior to the executive powers of the state. So here there is imbalance in the federalism. According to Article 257, the executive powers of every state shall be so exercised as not to impede or prejudice the exercise of the executive power of the union, and the executive power of the union shall extend to the giving of such direction to state as may appear to the government of India to be necessary for that purpose. Then we also study about permanent executives, and under that all India services. So these are common to entire territory of India. For example, officers like IS officer, IPS officers, they are under control of the central government. States can neither take disciplinary action or nor can they move these officers from the service. So this has all power under center. Then under Article 33 and 34, it authorizes Parliament to promote person in the service of the Union or state in respect to any action taken by them during the martial law to maintain or restore the order. So this provision further strengthens power of the Union government. For example, in some states we have the Armed Forces Special Powers Act, that is AFSPA. So this made clear that the Union has more power over states. Then now we will see what are some conflicts in Indian federalism. So there are conflicts like center-state relation. So though constitution is the only framework and its flesh and blood is provided by actual process. So we saw earlier that there are some disputes which arise between center and state. It can be either regarding socio-economic development or financial issues or political issues, etc. So these disputes are solved by the judiciary. And also there can be some cases where two different parties are at ruling parties at state and center. So there also conflict is seen between center and state. Then there are demands for autonomy. So many states and many even political states have formed from time to time, and they demanded that state should have more autonomy versus state government. So autonomy refers to different things for different states and parties. For example, sometimes the demand expects division of power, and the change should be in the favor of states, that is getting more power to these important states. Then there can be demand for state having independent source of revenue and greater control over the resources. The third aspect can be autonomy demanding administrative powers of the states. So sometimes states resent the control of central or administrative machinery, so there can be demand on that. And then fourth can be autonomy demands may also have related to culture and linguistic issue. For example, in southern state there was demand against non-Hindi speaking areas should not have compulsory Hindi subjects. So these can be some of the demands for autonomy. Then now we will be seeing important topic, that is role of governor and president's rule. So role of governor has always been controversial issue because the governor is appointed by the central government. So governor is not elected office holder, he is appointed by central government, and therefore actions of governor are often viewed as interference by the central government. Then according to the Sarkaria Commission, it was recommended that the appointment of governor should have strictly non-partisan. So the power and role of governor becomes controversial for one more reason, that is one of the most controversial article 356, which provides president's rule in states, any states. So this provision is applied when situation has arisen in which government of the state cannot be carried on accordance with the provisions of the constitutions. So here governor can recommend to president for proclamation of this emergency, and president proclamation has to be ratified by the parliament. So president rules can be extended till 3 years, and the governor has power to recommend even dismissal of the state government and suspension or the dissolution of the state assembly. So this led to many conflicts. In some cases, state government were dismissed even when they had majority in the legislature. So this created helplessness among the states. So hence governor's role is controversial. And there are some discretionary powers with the government. For example, sending the bill to president for reconsideration. So this also creates conflicts among states and center. Then there are also demands for new states. So this was the tension in our federal system, and it was to demand to create new states. So national movement not only created pan-Indian national identity and unity, it also generated distinct unity around common language, region and culture. So this created issues of factionalism. Though our country has a union of states, but still there are some states demanding separatism. So in December 1953, the State Reorganization Commission was set up, and it recommended creation of linguistic state, at least for the major linguistic groups, and in 1956 the reorganization of some state took place. But till now, this reorganization created conflict between various states. For example, interstate conflicts. So there can be on various issues, for example, sharing of revenue resources, then boundary disputes, then some states are when disputing among political issues. So judiciary acts as arbitration mechanism on this disputes on legal nature. For example, in case of border disputes, Maharashtra and Karnataka states have dispute over the city of Belgaum. Even Manipur and Nagaland states have this dispute. Then border disputes are more about the sentiments, and the disputes over sharing of river are even more serious because they are related to problems of drinking water, agriculture in the concerned state. So you might have heard about the Kaveri water disputes between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. So this created major issues, hence the River Water Tribunal was set up to settle this water dispute, and even this tribunal could not solve this issue, hence the issue was transferred to the Supreme Court of India. Then there are some special provision for some of the states. So this it is an extraordinary feature of our federal arrangement. So the constitution has some special provision for some state given their peculiar social and historical circumstances. So most special provision pertaining northeastern states like Assam, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh and Mizoram, it is more largely due to their sizable indigenous tribal population with distinct history and culture. But however, these provisions have not been able to stem alienation and insurgency in this part of the region. And special provision also exists for hilly states like Himachal Pradesh and some of the states like Andhra Pradesh, Goa, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Sikkim and Telangana. Now we will be seeing special status for Jammu and Kashmir. So other states had special status. Was Jammu Kashmir, that is under Article 370. So Jammu Kashmir was one of the largely princely state before independence. After independence, there was a issue like in 1947 Pakistan sent tribal infiltrator from its side to capture Kashmir, and this forced the Maharaja Hari Singh to ask Indian help and ascended it to Indian Union. So India provided greater autonomy through constitution to Jammu and Kashmir. According to Article 370, the concurrence of the state was required for making any law in matters mentioned in the union and concurrent list. So this reduced the influence of center over state. But recently there was a constitutional provision that was allowed precedent with the concurrence of the state government to specify which parts of the union list should apply to the state. So President had issued 2 constitutional orders in concurrence with the government of J&K and making larger part of the constitution applicable to the state. So earlier Jammu and Kashmir had different separate constitution, separate flag, but now the main Indian constitution is also applicable to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So the parliament power to make laws on the subject in the union list was fully accepted. There are also still differences regarding the implementation of emergencies. For example, in union government could not impose financial emergency in the state, and directive principles were not applicable to J&K, but amendments to Indian constitution could apply in concurrence with the government of J&K. At present, the special status given under Article 370 no longer exists, and by the Jammu Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019, the state has been bifurcated into 2 union territories, that are Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh. So this was the end of this video. If you have any doubt, please mention in the comment. I will be accepting any feedback from you as well. And if you like this video, please like, share and comment on this video, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day.